Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started in just a couple of moments. Find your seat. And welcome to this very special celebration of our Gephardt Institute Changemakers. My name is Stephanie Kurtzman, and it's my honor to serve as Executive Director of the Gephardt Institute for Civic and Community Engagement. Today, we celebrate graduates in the class of 2025 who have made a deep and enduring commitment to civic leadership, to leading change that improves people's lives, and to solving public challenges. The students we celebrate today represent 58 students who have earned the distinction of being a Gephardt Institute Changemaker. They've participated in one or more of our selective civic leadership programs. Among them, they are St. Louis Fellows, Civic Scholars, WashU Votes Executive Board members, St. Louis Impact Fund Transform Grant recipients, and Atkin residents in the art of democracy. Graduates, we applaud your commitment that you have made to learning and to living the values and practices that allow us to work together to effect change. Inquiry, empathy, collaboration, integrity, equity, and action. You've chosen to make your classroom walls porous, blending your academic work with real-world experiences, learning from theory and books, and also learning from the perspectives and the expertise of the people who live and lead in our local communities, building your civic knowledge and your civic skills, clarifying and conveying your perspective, your ideas, and your vision for a better world, and also listening, engaging in dialogue, and building partnerships with others. You've chosen to pursue a life of civic impact. You've brought all of this learning to bear on entrenched and troubling challenges facing our society. You've built connections and trust with each other and with community partners to move mission-critical work forward, work that needs to be done, work that improves the human condition, work that inspires others to act. And you have committed to being a change maker throughout your life. There is an African proverb many of us know: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So graduates, take a minute. You can actually turn around and look around this room. And also think about the people in your lives who are watching the live stream. Everyone in this room is part of the community that has believed in you, supported you, taught you, mentored you, and collaborated with you to help you arrive at this moment of celebration and civic commitment. This is a great time to stand up, turn around, see them, and give them a big round of applause. It is now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Lori Davis West. Lori was in your shoes, she told me not to say the year, but in 1984, when she graduated from WashU with a bachelor's degree in economics, followed by an MBA from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. With over 20 years of corporate experience, she is the founder and CEO of Lori Davis Consulting, which helps organizations manage complex change. Lori is a trusted advisor to leading nonprofits, developing and managing partnerships with capacity builders, community foundations, and other mission-aligned organizations. Among her many projects and partnerships, Lori has worked with the New York City Mayoral Transition Team, the Choose Healthy Life Black Clergy Action Plan, and the Archdiocese of New York's 2020 Census citywide network to reach hard-to-count populations and communities of color. Lori is a native St. Louisan and also a proud New Yorker. She is co-chair of the Gephardt Institute's National Advisory Council and my trusted advisor. Her daughter recently graduated from WashU, Her son is a current WashU student, and you can ask her after the ceremony how many people in her family have degrees from WashU. Please join me in welcoming Lori Davis West as she comes to the podium.
(1984), so glasses are required. Okay. Good afternoon. Being back at WashU is everything. This is where I first learned what it means to live between the lines of the possible and the necessary, where I began to understand what it truly means to stand in the gap. It is an incredible honor to be here with you, among a community committed not just to scholarship, but to purpose. A community that understands civic engagement not as a theory, but as a deep-rooted passion. A memory that captures the essence of this city for me is standing in line on a humid summer nights at Tedrew's, where the line stretches around the block and the shared ritual brings strangers into conversation. One evening, my friends and I found ourselves there, our minds, like yours, still wrestling with questions about equity and power, and why certain neighborhoods seemed forgotten while others thrived. This one night was different, though. As we stood beneath the glow of the lights, laughing, connecting, and eating our frozen custard, I had an epiphany. That is when everything clicked, and I realized something that would shape my understanding of civic work forever. Standing in the gap isn't always dramatic or visible. And it seems really simple, right? But it transformed my entire perspective. Sometimes it's just about being present in those spaces where joy and struggle coexist, holding both realities with equal conviction, and refusing to let the struggle eclipse the joy. I see that same spirit in all of you who immersed yourselves in the neighborhoods of this city, not as visitors, but as partners. You learned, as I did, that lasting transformation happens not through quick solutions, but through sustained relationships. Whether you were registering voters through Wash Your Votes, collaborating with community-based organizations, or in earnest discussions with your cohort, you have already begun to understand what it means to truly stand in the gap. I think of the longest table, those events you organized, powerful gatherings where students, faculty, staff, and community members break bread together, and they engage in meaningful, good faith dialogues across differences. You discovered that sometimes the most radical act is simply creating spaces where diverse voices can be heard, where strangers become neighbors over a shared meal, where democracy comes alive in the most ordinary of settings. As an undergraduate at WashU, I studied economics to understand systems, how they work, and too often how they fail people. But my education stretched beyond Brookings. It was in the neighborhoods surrounding this campus that I learned what it means to lead with your feet firmly planted in the community, to lead not from above, but alongside. And when not from within, then in parallel. To listen before offering solutions, to show up again and again, even when the camera is off, even when the crowd has moved on. Parents, You should be immensely proud. These young scholars haven't just earned a degree. They've developed a compass, a way of being in the world that will guide them long after their time at WashU. They've learned to ask critical questions about equity, power, and action. Most importantly, they've learned to stay in the room when those conversations and those questions get uncomfortable, when the path forward isn't clear. It is a lesson that has followed me into every chapter of my professional journey. Whether at TIAA, where the tagline is financial services for the greater good, or S&P Cap IQ, advising policymakers on equity legislation, or guiding organizations through structural transformation. Now, through my own firm, I've made it my mission to help others build bridges between vision and execution, between communities and capital, between values and the policies that should reflect them. Here's the truth, though. Standing in the gap is rarely glamorous. It means stepping into discomfort, holding tension, and refusing to abandon people when the system tells you it's easier to look the other way. You've experienced this firsthand through your work at the Gephardt Institute. Those moments when theory meets practice, when your ideals meet real-world constraints, when you discover that change is simultaneously urgent and patient, immediate and multi-generational. We're living in a moment of uncertainty, economic fragility, institutional distrust, and we're all looking for what's solid, what's true, and what's next. In times like these, leaders don't emerge because they seek power. They appear because they hear the quiet call. There is a gap here, and I choose to stand in it. Last month at Sticks House, Congressman Gephardt reminded us that the guiding principles through our nation's 250 years of challenges has always been and remains country over self. The Declaration of Independence closing pledge resonates through time. We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Senator Cory Booker captured this spirit during his record-breaking Senate speech. We need that now from all Americans. This is a moral moment. It's not left or right, he said. It's right or wrong. So, to you graduates who transformed WashU votes into a powerful campus movement, to those who spent summers as St. Louis Fellows, building relationships that transcended traditional service and made real change possible, to those civic scholars who listened to community needs and designed your civic summers to respond to them, and to those of you who brought your minds and your hearts and your eyes and your ears to the table to lead partnership projects, advise the Gephardt Institute, and foster a vibrant civic community at WashU. To those who gathered communities at the longest table, proving that democracy begins with dialogue. To every one of you who've made the Gephardt Institute experience a vital part of your WashU education, I want you to think about these things. Where are you being asked to stand in the gap? Where can your presence, your voice, and your vision be the bridge between what is and what must be? As a fellow alum, I encourage you to keep leaning in and showing up. Embrace the hard work ahead, be resilient in the face of setbacks, and move towards complexity. Your ability to navigate it will be more important than ever in this era. Stay strong, even when progress takes time. The tools you've developed through the Gephardt Institute are lifelong, and the ongoing work of preserving our nation's founding values now rests with you. In closing, as graduates shaped by the Gephardt Institute, you have already shown what it means to step up as engaged citizens. Servant leadership isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, repeated acts of integrity. It's about listening harder than you speak. It's about leading with compassion as much as with conviction. It's about seeing possibilities and taking action. And when the work feels heavy, because it will, find joy. Laugh with your friends, get some frozen custard, and remember, joy is not the opposite of resistance. It is the fuel for it. So thank you, Gephardt Institute, for standing in the gap and for allowing me to share how I continue to try to do the same. And to the parents and families here today, thank you. Thank you for supporting these extraordinary young leaders in becoming not just successful, but significant. I wish all of you the best.
Thank you so much, Lori. We are now at the time in our program when our graduates will share their civic commitments and receive their commencement stoles. Each graduate has written a personal civic commitment that speaks to what civic engagement means to them and how they intend to act on this commitment throughout their life. We place each civic commitment into a frame that our graduates can keep on their desk or their bookshelf as a keepsake and a reminder, a North Star as they proceed on their journey. They will also receive their stole to wear today and at all of their graduation ceremonies, which is embroidered with the WashU shield and the words, Gephardt Institute Changemaker. Each stole will be presented by a Gephardt Institute staff member who worked closely with the graduate. So here's how this will work. Graduates will ask you to line up to my right. Bring your printed civic commitment with you, but you can leave everything else at your seat. Each graduate will share their name and the Gephardt programs that they participated in, and they'll read their civic commitment. They'll then cross the stage and receive their stole from their program leader. Graduates, when you get to the other side, please wait to be seated until Laura cues you so that your full row can take your seats together. We do have a professional photographer taking photos of each graduate, and we'll share all of the images with the graduates for free download. But parents and other guests, you are certainly welcome to capture photos as well. Just note that graduates are not speaking in alphabetical order, so watch closely for your graduate to appear at the podium. And now I'm pleased to introduce the class of 2025 Gephardt Institute Changemakers.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elijah Beal, and I had the pleasure of working for 3 years as a graduate student staff at Gephardt. And my civic commitment is I commit to understanding how the investments and decisions of private companies can be leveraged for community transformation rather than purely profit. I want to help make our philanthropic ecosystem one that's rooted in genuine partnership, collective impact, and racial and economic justice.
Hi, my name is Julia Blanchard, and I was a graduate practicum student, and I was also a St. Louis Impact Fund grant recipient. And my commitment, I commit to fostering inclusive and community-driven spaces, working with others to advance equity, strengthening our local networks, and promoting meaningful civic engagement in St. Louis and beyond.
Hello, I'm William Yu. I'm a civic scholar and a former St. Louis Fellow, and I'm committed to taking a systems and structures-first approach to addressing civic issues and to trust in people's ability to redeem themselves.
Hi, my name is Elena Galani, and I participated in the St. Louis Fellows Program. After graduation, I hope to stay committed to civic engagement by continuing to advocate for voter education and equitable access to the ballot. My experience as a St. Louis Fellow reminded me how important it is to help more people participate in our democracy, and I'm excited to build on that foundation through ongoing advocacy and outreach.
Hi, my name is Andrew De La Salas, and I participated in the St. Louis Fellows Program. As part of my commitment to engaging in civic issues after graduation, I intend to practice a broad and reflexive solidarity that prioritizes community with people of all identities. I am committed to using my own power, however it might manifest, to generate progressive change, especially in response to the alarming erosion of law and democratic norms.
My name is Will Armstrong. I was a St. Louis Fellow, and my work with the Gephardt Institute taught me how to prioritize care and humility in all kinds of civic engagement. I'm looking forward to continue learning from, advocating for, and standing alongside members of the St. Louis community after I graduate and begin my work in the legal field. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea Crutch, and I was a part of the Civic Scholars Program. And so, in this era of uncertainty, I find myself leaning more than ever on my core values of creativity, empathy, and love. My time with Civic Scholars gave me the clarity and grounding I needed to pursue this path, and I'm excited for my next step to deepen the foundation and knowledge through my master's degree. I am hopeful and committed to a career that brings together my passions for artistic expression, cultural understanding, and community connection to address pressing social issues in a way that creates lasting and meaningful changes.
Hi everyone, my name is Jade Zhang, and I was a part of the Civic Scholars Program and the St. Louis Fellows Program. Moving my civic commitment statement, the Gephardt Institute has helped me connect my personal values with actionable work in public service. I've been encouraged to critically reflect on how my academic and professional experiences align with my commitment to environmental equity. Moving forward, as I prepare to enter law school, I see my future not as a straight path, but as a multi-layered commitment to continue learning, to amplifying the voices of others, and to build policy ecosystems that reflect our shared humanity. Thank you.
My name is Grace Archer. I was a St. Louis Fellow last summer. I believe in building a world where high-quality healthcare is accessible to all. I am committed to carrying this belief with me as I work at the intersection of medicine and community, guided by the knowledge that public health will always have the power to bring us together.
Hi, my name's Sophie Jeffers, and I was part of the Wash U Votes Executive Board, and my civic commitment is short and sweet. I am committed to being a lifelong learner in order to better understand and shape equitable social policies that uplift all communities. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Caroline Fong, and I participated in the St. Louis Fellows Program last summer. My civic commitment statement is, civic commitment means dedicating myself to my community and ensuring that everyone has the right to exist in a world where their civil liberties, especially freedom of speech, are fully protected. I intend to uphold my commitment by working as a lawyer in the public interest law and legal advocacy fields.
Hello, my name is Jesse Harris Jr. My civic commitment is to continue my involvement in the local community. Whether through political action, grassroots organizing, or volunteering, I will strive to intentionally care for and give back to the community where I reside.
Hi, my name is Gavin Yao. I'm a media and film and media assistant at Gephardt. I wanted to create a nature documentary to help with environmental justice, but now I want to create a biotech startup that will contribute to the bettering of public health through potential scale-up of different medical solutions. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hannah John. I was a St. Louis Fellow. The St. Louis Fellows program has taught me that civic engagement doesn't always have to look like these high-level sweeping changes in national public policy. While I'm not completely sure where my future will take me, I will continue to foster my civic engagement in my sustainable daily practice. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Darsh Singhania, and I was a St. Louis Impact Fund Transform Grant recipient last year. I'm committed to addressing the health needs of urban underserved populations by conducting impactful public health research, training in a diverse clinical setting in medical school, and continuing my work as a local activist to advance health equity and community empowerment. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Emma Gerber and I was also a Transform Grant recipient this year. I just want to say that I have such a deep gratitude to the Gephardt Institute for allowing me to build meaningful community spaces on campus. That's what civic commitment looks like to me. At WashU, this has taken the form of a student organization called Missouri Prison Stories that will be publishing a literary journal for incarcerated and formerly incarcerated artists to be heard. The grant isn't finished until next spring, so I'll still be around supporting this work on campus, but I also hope to continue my advocacy and community building work off campus as I grow towards a career in public interest law.
Hi everyone, my name is April Springer and I was a St. Louis Fellow. Civic commitment to me means internalizing and dedicating my time and energy towards my community, just like Gephardt has taught me in St. Louis. I hope to continue my passion of focusing on making legal services equitable and accessible after graduation, which will affirm my commitment to my community wherever I land. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jillian Strauss, and I was a St. Louis Fellow. This past year, I have studied urban development and displacement in St. Louis and explored how policy decisions shape neighborhoods. After graduation, I'm committed to continuing my civic journey by advancing equitable, community-centered policy and government action through work at the intersection of the private and public sectors.
Hi everyone, my name is Priya Anand. I was a WashU Votes exec member and also a St. Louis Impact Fund grant recipient. I commit to amplifying the voices of those impacted by the criminal legal system and to working towards a more just and equitable society through sustained advocacy and community engagement.
Hello, I'm Samaya. I was a St. Louis Fellow. My civic commitment is to continue to learn about the inequities facing communities nationally and internationally, and the role I can take to advocate for better outcomes.
Hello, my name is Kamaria Gutter, and I participated in the St. Louis Fellows Program. I will stay civically engaged by studying urban planning principles to better understand how to create inclusive, sustainable communities, and by actively participating in local planning initiatives and applying my knowledge to real-world projects. I will contribute to shaping equitable urban spaces.
Hi, my name is Mia Putrikul. I was a St. Louis Fellow. I promise to stay engaged, curious, informed, and compassionate as I venture forth in life post-graduation by finding ways to contribute positively to my community, the environment, being an environmental engineer. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alethea Franklin. I was a civic scholar. I commit to letting my values and beliefs guide my civic work, dedicating my efforts to issues I am passionate about, including education, freedom of expression, accessibility, and racial equity.
Hi everyone, my name is Claire Koo and I was a St. Louis Fellow. As I embark on the next steps of my journey, I shall commit to remaining engaged and informed on civic issues. In my future career as a physician, I aim to leverage science and technology to improve the health and well-being of our communities. Harnessing my longtime fascination with science, endeavor to promote social justice, and desire to empower others. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Victoria Wright and I was the St. Louis Impact Fund intern. After graduation, I commit to staying engaged in civic life by supporting public health initiatives and volunteering with community-based organizations that serve Atlanta and the Global South's most vulnerable populations. I believe that sustained local action can foster healthier, more equitable futures for all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katie Plum, and I participated in the St. Louis Fellows Program. I commit to supporting initiatives that encourage marginalized people to share their stories, and to advocating for the rights of queer people to thrive, not just exist in community.
Hi, I'm Patty Diaz, and I was part of the Civic Scholars Program, and I commit to staying engaged in work that uplifts underserved Hispanic communities, promotes equity, and fosters compassion in all areas of public health. I will continue to seek out opportunities to learn, listen, and lead efforts that build a more just and connected world.
Hi everyone, my name is Amelia Letson. I was on the Wash Your Votes Executive Board and a member of the Civic Scholars Program and the St. Louis Fellows Program. I am committed to being conscious of my place, perspective, and community in every place I go. I will remain dedicated to working in pursuit of reproductive freedom, economic equity, and social justice beyond any single workplace, organization, or university.
everyone. My name is Haneen Ghanem, and I was a civic scholar. My civic commitment is to always stay grounded in my community and to try pour back into it as best as I can, no matter what I'm doing. I want to use the knowledge I gained at WashU and in further schooling and beyond to give back to the Muslim and Arab communities that gave me so much, and to never stop fighting for the rights and visibility of those communities here in the U.S.
Hi, my name is Michelle, and I am a part of the Civic Scholars Program. I am committed to pursuing science that will advance our understanding of the immune system in the context of infectious disease, autoimmunity, or cancer, diseases that all disproportionately burden marginalized communities. Through research, I hope to build a career grounded in advancing human health, societal impact, and scientific discovery.
Hi, I'm Disha Chatterjee, and I'm part of the Civic Scholars Program. My civic commitment is to pursue a career path in public interest law that combats systemic inequities and advocates for marginalized voices. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia Burnett, and I was a St. Louis Fellow. I commit to practicing design that is rooted in equity, accessibility, and sustainability, creating spaces and systems that serve diverse communities and foster lasting positive change.
Hi, my name is Miriam, and I was a St. Louis Fellow. My civic commitment is I am committed to using my voice and platform to advocate for those who are often unheard. I will continue to educate myself and others about the systematic issues that impact marginalized communities and do my part to create a more just and inclusive society. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ana Cecilia Gutierrez. I'm a former St. Louis Fellow, and I am committed to using creativity and design as a tool for social change by making information accessible and creating methods that empower communities to shape their environments, always guided by social equity and collective transformation. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Kelly Rojo Reyes. I was a former St. Louis Fellow, and I will remain civically engaged with standing with marginalized communities through legal advocacy and grassroots efforts. Wherever my path leads, I will carry on the legacy of my ancestors with values rooted in justice, solidarity, and resistance, guiding both my personal and professional life. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Farrow. I was a former St. Louis Fellow, and my civic commitment is I commit to mentoring and advocating for educational access among underrepresented communities, striving to build academic environments shaped by diverse voices and experiences.
Hi everyone, my name is Supriya Stapis Sherpa. I was a student staff for Civic Cafe. I am committed to advancing health equity for underserved communities, especially women and girls, through evidence-based public health practice, civic engagement, and compassionate leadership. I will continue to serve with empathy, using my skill to uplift voices that are often unheard. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Lukens, and I was a civic scholar. As I start my professional career, I am committed to forming relationships with people from different backgrounds, cultures, perspectives, and lived experiences. In doing so, I hope to expand my understanding of the world and build stronger communities to foster collective action and meaningful change.
Hi everyone, my name is Jada Smith.
and I was a part of Civic Scholars and also the St. Louis Impact Fund grant recipient. And I commit to remember that I am doing the civic work for the work and intention of it and not for the results. And I also commit to remembering the community that I've came from and making sure a part of my career is to pour back into those who have poured into me.
Hi, my name is Lujain Al-Khidr, and I was a civic scholar. I commit to always using my knowledge that I've gained from WashU and that I will gain in the future, my voice, my time, my energy, to advocating for healthcare access for all, especially for marginalized communities. I commit to never forgetting the communities that I am part of and always keeping them at the forefront of every work that I do.
Hi everyone, my name is Heran Andebrahan and I'm a civic scholar. My civic commitment is, after graduation, I commit to volunteering at least one day a year, staying in touch with at least one university organization or community partner, and mentoring at least one high school student if the opportunity arises.
Hello everyone, my name is Jocelyn Medina and I'm a civic scholar. As my civic commitment is, as a woman of color from a limited income background, I have encountered unique experiences that have shaped how I see the world and how the world sees me. I want to continue advocating for historically neglected communities by creating equitable policies that include the voices of all community members in decision-making spaces. Thank you.
Let's give these graduates another round of applause. So graduates, as we near the conclusion of our program, I want to leave you with one reminder and one request. First, remember the proverb, if you want to go far, go together. As an extension of this, remember the Gephardt Institute t-shirt that many of you own. The future is what we build together. Go together. Tap into this incredible community of Gephardt Institute changemakers. Those in our midst who are graduating with you on Monday, those who have graduated from our programs over the last 20 years, and those who will come after you. Stay in touch with each other, think together, dialogue together, plan together, forge collaborations and coalitions, and support one another. And take the sense of community that you have learned here and bring these values and practices into your extended network of neighbors, friends, family, colleagues, and collaborators. The future is what we build together. And second, pay it forward. Think not only about those who supported your civic journey, but also how you can support the civic journey of others. Who can you mentor? Who is coming up after you who shares your vision for change? Who needs your support and encouragement? And think too about how you can help make the Gephardt Institute as impactful as we can be so that future students can continue benefiting from our programs. Tell us what you're doing and what you're learning, so that we can learn with you and translate that into how we teach the next waves of students. Send us articles and podcasts, especially the ones you produce, but also the ones you think we need to know about. And please stay in touch with us. We are as invested in you as we were when you began your time with the Gephardt Institute, and that relationship doesn't stop at commencement. It gives us such great joy to hear from you and to know how your life and your civic journey are unfolding. You give all of us hope, and your energy fuels us. So graduates, we now invite all of you to come forward for your Class of 2025 photo. Please come forward. And as they gather, we're going to let the professional photographer do her job first, and then family, feel free to get some photos before we release everybody.